Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Should we please stand for a few minutes in remembrance of Rick Rosenberg, past board member who has died between our last meeting and this. Thank you, Mary, thank you. Rick was, I believe, the youngest
In New Jersey.
That's correct.
Yes, it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Was he your first student rep also?
Yes.
Was he your first student representative?
Yeah. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Code of 1975 of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Southfield Board of Education was proposed in the following manner. On June 27, 2017, notice was faxed or mailed to the following newspapers: Home News and Tribune. Home News and Sentinel, I'm sorry. Also on June 27th, the notice was delivered to the office of the Southfield Board of Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Bureau. On March 8th, the notice is also posted in the Southfield Board of Clerk's office. Roll call.
Mr. Andre?
Here.
Mr. Bezak? Here. Mrs. Beck?
Here.
Mrs. Bush?
Mr. Bush been excused.
Mrs. Cruz?
Mrs. Cruz has been excused.
Mr. Nielsen?
Here.
Mr. Rosato?
Here.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Here.
Mr. Marluda?
Here.
Ms. Brown? We'll excuse her, I guess.
Yeah, she's been excused. You can see the agenda this month has been slightly revised. The question and answer period for items on the agenda will be at the end of the agenda of the committees, and then we will go into the consent resolution, since this is a combination of both the pre-meeting and the public meeting. Saying that, the use of facilities,
We have minutes first.
board minutes, the minutes of February the 23rd, March 23rd, May 25th, June 19th, and June 22nd. Board members, your pleasure.
Move the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Rosanna.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Use of facilities.
We have three items on the agenda for tonight: the South River Police Department, the South River Elementary PTA, their activities, and the South River Public Library.
Board members.
Move the use of facilities in accordance with board policies.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beck. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Is that Ms. Brown? Is that Samantha?
Yeah.
Over here, honey, the seat in the front row.
Welcome.
In the Bob Euchre seats.
Not so many people get that reference.
Yeah, especially at our age.
Okay. And financial report, Mr. Bank?
All board members have a copy of the treasurer's report. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer of School Monies for May 2017 be approved, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Bennett.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to begin by thanking the entire South River community for their extremely positive and warm welcome this month. July has been dedicated to gaining just really an in-depth understanding of our entire school community. To this end, I spent this month conducting one-on-one meetings with directors, principals, parents, and our conversations have really been focused on highlighting the strengths of our school and district, but also the vision and the direction, the areas where we see we could grow. And I look forward to continuing these conversations with our teachers once they return in September as well. A lot of my time this month has also been dedicated to a thorough review of our student performance data. It's clear to see that the district makes continuous growth in this regard. And in many grade levels and content areas, I've noticed that we meet or exceed the state performance averages. But student data, however, also shows us that we're in a position to target specific subgroups, specific areas to continue to grow and develop. And this will provide us a focus for our professional development, for our teachers, for our principals, as well as the selection of the programs that we choose for our students. I also had the opportunity this month to meet with the director of Middlesex Rec Team 5, and he oversees our focus school status at the elementary school. And we've already started to discuss a very targeted plan to begin to address the areas of needs that have really put us into that focus school status and really work towards exiting that status this year. The other thing that was important this month is really to make connections with the other superintendents in the county, make connections with administrators in surrounding universities, and build some partnerships. And to this end, we already began a partnership with Rutgers University, with the business school at Rutgers. And they'll be working with us this year on college and career readiness planning for our students. They'll support us in offering some dual enrollment opportunities for our students at the high school where they can earn some college credit. And also, this is really exciting, Rutgers has agreed to host our administrative team, our principals and directors for a leadership retreat in August. And they will be providing us with a facility on their campus, as well as catering a lunch for the group. But most importantly, it'll be a day devoted to learning and to professional development for our principals and directors, which is just as important as the professional development we need for our teachers. So we're really excited to partner with Rutgers on that. And that's happening on August 31st. On a state level, South River will be the host district this year for the New Jersey Association of Federal Grant Administrators. It's a big, big title. But basically what it means is that teachers and administrators from all over the state who plan title grants and who plan the funding for grant programs will be coming to our district. And we'll be meeting here together to articulate about how they're using those funds, what opportunities are out there. But also we'll have people from NJDOE coming to help us with some of that grant funding and planning as well. So it'll be people from all over the state coming to our district. We will be the hosting district, which is very exciting for 17-18. And finally, the last portion of this report is dedicated to the district's budgetary state. The public may have recently heard that the district received $277,174 in additional state aid. And while this additional funding is certainly appreciated, it is just not sufficient to reinstate all of the positions that were eliminated in May. And it's really important that we outline that. So the district does unfortunately continue to face some significant fiscal challenges, but it's our goal to be fiscally responsible, and the district continues to review our spending and also what opportunities are ahead of us for some revenue as well. I also want to take a moment to welcome Samantha. She's our new rep, and we're excited to have her here and work with her throughout the year in her role. So congratulations to you, Samantha, and welcome. I would like to encourage our board and the public also to take a moment to review the reports that were provided by our building administration. They highlight some of the ways that they ended the school year in June, some of the activities that were going on in our buildings, as well as the reports from our department leaders as well, which show what's been happening in those areas. And that concludes my superintendent's report. Thank you.
Board members, your pleasure. Move the superintendent's report. Motion by Mr. Rosanna.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Comments or questions?
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely done. You're off to a great start.
Thank you.
If I can just comment on two items in the entire packet. The first, I want to bring everyone's attention to page 43, and that is our Director of Technology report. Brian Dower is right back there. The thing I want to point out that I was very unaware of is that when he started 6 years ago, we only had 400 computers throughout the entire district. And he states that as his last inventory, we now have a total of 1,540 devices that he manages. This is the way kids learn today, and this is how we have to go forward. I just want to thank Brian, commend him for keeping all of this technology up to date and current. And it's pretty impressive in 6 years how that number really grew. The other question that I had, or item that actually this is a question, is on page 1. Under the providing classes for all our students, I see that there are 4 students going down to Wildwood, and the tuition is listed there. Where, I didn't see where the transportation cost was reflected in the report. Maybe I just missed it, or if someone could either get back to me on that or follow up, I can call tomorrow.
These students are homeless, and they
Yes.
moved to Wildwood.
So they live there?
They live there.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, why I didn't see a transportation cost, so that answers that question. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Bezak? Yes. Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Yes.
Mr. Wailuda?
Yes, motion so carried. And again from the board, Samantha, congratulations. I don't know if you've talked with the superintendent as of yet, but it might be wise that whatever chance you get, take an appointment, sit down, talk to her. She'll go over with you the operations of the board. This is your spot, and if there's any comments or questions from the student body or what have you, you're free to bring them on up and discuss them and come to some kind of a resolution. And in many of those cases, feel free anytime to contact the superintendent and call over whatever problems you might see, and we can take care of them immediately rather than even waiting for a meeting. But again, from the board, congratulations.
Welcome.
And now we'll go to the committee reports. The athletic committee, Mrs. Beck.
They're in their summer activity mode. Baseball, soccer, cheering, tennis, cross country, basketball, wrestling, bowling, and football are all doing summer activities. I know this, the 31st, which I believe is Monday, is when the physician will be here to go over all this information for the fall sports. And so that concludes my report.
Okay. You want to go, Mr. Beck?
Thank you. Under the Buildings and Grounds report, all board members do have copies of our supervisor's report. I would just like to comment that Steve really writes a nice summary of everything that has been going on, and you can find it on page 5. And he also definitely takes time in his report to thank his staff, the small staff that he has, that get all of the things done around here that need to be done. Fortunately, we have 5 summer hires that have been a great help to him. And then he also points out, I wanted to ask our board member, Mr. Rosanna, a person by the name of Mr. Nick Rosano, soon to be Eagle Scout.
Yes, this is...
You know him?
Yeah, I've met him. For those of you who don't know, he's my grandson. And he's going into his junior year at the high school here. And his Eagle project was to actually rebuild the dugouts on the varsity baseball field and take care of a lot of the field. Like at one point, the weeds behind the home bleachers were as high as the top seats of the bleachers. And so they got that all cleared out, did a lot of cleaning the landscaping, so to speak, and he and his friends actually rebuilt the 2 dugouts that were falling apart. They were horrible. I mean, and they look like they're brand new. And so he's lucky that he's got great guidance from both his mom and his dad and his stepmom and stepdad, and everything's going really nicely. And he's lucky to have a lot of friends that they were able to come in and help him because they respect him so much. So congratulations to Nick, and thank you very much, Mrs. Urbanek, for recognizing him. You did a great job. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. We thank him for saving
Yeah.
our own personnel for taking time out to do that.
By the way, if I may, I'm
Yes,
sorry to
sir.
interrupt, but he raised the money himself to get to get the materials he needed to do the project.
That is truly commendable. Is Mr. Raymond, is there any way that we could perhaps recognize him? Or
Certainly, we can.
And maybe
the board can make
perhaps,
up a,
Mr. Blaja could help present that, because that really saved him
absolutely.
quite a bit of work and
All you can
effort.
do is have it presented in the board meeting.
He is interested in taking some photographs and bringing them to a board meeting and presenting them. So we did talk about him being able to display some of the work that he's done.
Maybe at that time, we can present some type of a,
Yeah, could I,
Sure.
excuse me, I'm sorry. Could I ask that we just wait until September, because August is a very big vacation month.
that's fine.
I don't want to,
Maybe he'll come at that time.
he may not
with
be
the,
here,
yeah.
and we'll probably have a much bigger audience.
Sure.
You know, not that we really appreciate you guys coming.
Well, that's just where that is.
At least 5.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll be fine.
Not counting me.
Thank you again,
Well, that
Mrs.
way the parents will be here.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that concludes the Buildings and Grounds report, unless any other board members have any other items.
You will be continuing with the finance?
Sure. Under finance, we have 30 items. Item number 1 is to approve and accept the IDEA grant application and salary chart for fiscal year 2018. Items 2 through 18 are for the school year 2017-18. So I will just read those items without going into the 17-18 school year at the end of every item. So item 2 is to approve and award a contract for Delta T Group North Jersey substitute nursing service provider. Item 3, approve award a contract Starlight Home Care Agency one-to-one nursing service provider. Item 4, approve award contract behavioral consultations independent psychiatric evaluation service provider. 5, approve award Christine Matta Arabic bilingual speech evaluation service provider. 6, approve award New Jersey Specialized Child Study Team evaluations for the hearing impaired / rates. 7, approve award Advanced Psychiatric Care Independent Psychiatric Evaluations and Rates. 8, approve award Therapy Resource Associates of New Jersey Independent Bilingual Spanish Speech Evaluation. 9, approve award Paula's Bilingual Portuguese Bilingual Social History Evaluation Service Provider. 10, approve award Rosa I. Tomas Portuguese Bilingual Psychological Evaluation Service Provider. 11, approve award Celino Ruivo Matos Portuguese Bilingual Educational Evaluation Service Provider. 12, approve award LifeTouch National School Studios Incorporated Yearbook Service Provider. 13, accept Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Master Collaborative Service Rates. 14, approve award Commission of the Blind through the Department of Human Services. 15, approve award Adam Crass Consulting Assistive Technology Evaluation Service Provider. 16, approve award DC Fagan Psychological Services Standard Psychoeducational and Neuropsychological Evaluation Service Provider. 17, approve award New Jersey Educational Services Alliance Arabic Bilingual Evaluation Service Provider. And 18, approve tuition contract preschool program. Number 19 is to accept 2016-2017 extraordinary aid. 20, accept 2017-2018 non-public entitlements. 21, approve transfer from Fund 30 Capital Projects to General Fund 10 2015 School Bond Referendum. Items 22, 23, and 24 are also for the 17-18 school year. 22, approve award Naviance Incorporated, post-secondary and career readiness service provider. 23, approve award Pediatric Center of Somerset, school physician. 24, approve award contract Bayeda Home Health Care, nursing services provider. Item 25, I'm going to take the time to actually read the item from the agenda. It's going to be approved under consent resolution, but I'd just like to read it into the minutes. And that is to accept additional state aid. And this is being done in the interest of transparency, which I believe this board has the most of. And that is to accept additional state aid 2017-2018 school year. The Finance Committee, upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends the approval of the resolution listed below. Whereas the district received an additional $277,174 in state aid in the 2017-18 school year. Whereas the district has options listed below to decide on how to use the additional funds. A, provide tax relief with the approval from the municipality and/or county office by reducing the certified tax levy presented in the originally approved 2017-18 budget. B, increase the 2017-2018 general fund appropriations during the budget year. C, designate any portion of the additional funds for use in the 2018-19 school year. Be it resolved that the South River School District elects to increase the 2017-18 general fund appropriations during the budget year into the following line items. That would be option B. Line item 11-120-101-100-003, salary, grades 1 through 5, $120,000. Salary, grades 6 through 8, $82,174, and the line item for health benefits, $75,000. Be it further resolved that the board authorizes the school business administrator to forward a copy of the certified resolution minutes to the County Office of Education. So that is how we appropriated the money for everyone's clarification. Item 26, approve submission New Jersey Child Assault Prevention Program grant application. Item 27, approve the tax requisition. Item 28, approve line item transfers. Item 29, approve the requisition list. And item 30, approve, award, and renew contract to Rubicon International for the 17-18 school year. And so concludes the finance report. If any board members have any questions or comments, please.
Mr. Bag, if I may,
Yes.
what's the difference between number 4 and number 7?
4 and number 7. That was 26 items of that. 4 and 7. Could the superintendent help with that? They are both the same. Yeah, I see what you're asking,
Yeah.
since they are both the same company.
Yeah, and they seem to be the same thing, but I'm not sure.
No, they're not the same company.
Meg?
It's the difference between behavioral consultation, Meg, and advanced psychiatric care.
Okay.
So they both.
Yes, behavioral consultation. Number 4 is behavioral consultation, and number 7 is advanced psychiatric care.
Yeah.
Types of evaluations.
Got it. Thank you.
Neurodevelopmental, yes.
Thank you very much. Now, number 25, and I hate to be
Yes, sir.
From what, and I guess I misread what was in the packet, but salary. Now, does that mean we're not going to bring back any teachers?
that money is going into that line item.
Right.
To increase
But
that
when you
line
say
item.
salary, first thing that hits me is negotiations.
No, but salary is actually the teacher's salary. to bring
Okay,
it back.
good. Thank you
Yes.
again. I'm glad
That's the
that,
question,
I'm glad that we cleared that up, so.
Yeah, no, it's not for
People tell
increasing.
me
you know?
Right.
Good
It's
question.
for positions,
For
not
Yeah,
increases.
for
Right.
salaried positions.
Salary positions.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Tom?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then continuing. Mr. Zammit, instruction?
Instruction is only one item, sir. It's approved professional development travel expenses 2017-18 school year. That's all I have.
And Mr. Portman on negotiation?
Yes, we did reach impasse, as I advised the board and the administration in June. The negotiations committee and the SREA committee mutually declared impasse. We met with a state mediator from PERC on July 17th, which was good in that we were able to get a summer date. Bad in that, unfortunately, we did not make the progress that the board and administrative committees had hoped to make at that meeting. We do have another meeting scheduled for September 5th. We're hoping for hopefully a better grasp of reality from those involved in the process and a little bit more progress. We would love to have a contract in place or an agreement for a contract in place that night. That is our goal.
Thank you. And the policy, and Mr. Nielsen?
One item, sir. Approve superintendent 2017-2018 employee travel expense.
And your human resources, please.
24 items tonight. 1, approve resignation, Jennifer Westuba, high school art teacher and sophomore class co-advisor. Approve resignation, Carol Foster, occupational therapist. Approve resignation, Taylor Warren, high school mathematics teacher. Approve resignation, Diane Nielsen, adult school 2017-2018 school year. Approve resignation, Rachel Barrett, adult school 2017-18 school year. Approve rescind appointment, Jennifer Denman, high school special education teacher, 2017-18 school year. Approve rescind appointment, Jessica Vassallo, high school special education teacher and freshman class advisor, 2017-18 school year. Approve intermittent family leave, Kathy Miller, high school assistant principal, 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint Paul Lund, high school special education teacher, 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint Randy Trailman, LDT-C, 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint additional staff for summer IEP meetings for the summer of 2017. Approve appoint Bonnie Francone, substitute school nurse, extended school year 2017. Approve appoint Sylvia Zurcher, representative of the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. 14, approve appoint anti-bullying staff for the 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint additional athletic coach 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint Caitlin Callis, social worker, summer of 2017. Approve appoint Atlas curriculum writing staff 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint co-curricular staff high school 2017-18 school year. 19, approve employment contract Kenneth J. Kukuska, school business administrator, board secretary 2017-18 school year. 20, approve appoint Paul Cassius, high school family and consumer science teacher 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint Daniel Stempora, part-time computer maintenance and repair, summer of 2017 and 2017-18 school year. Approve disability family leave, Caitlin Servan, secretary, 2017-18 school year. Approve appoint translator, parent, student handbooks, summer of 2017. Approve appoint Tracy Bustle, videographer, summer 2017 and 2017-2018 school year. And I so move.
Anyone have any questions? Yes, Mr. Lincoln?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I have one item. Approved 2017 Summer Transportation Routes, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey.
Mr. Baser?
I have nothing at this time.
This time we'll open the meeting to the public for any comments or questions on items strictly on the agenda. Any items are listed to 10 minutes. Anyone? Seeing none, continuing with the agenda, consent resolution.
The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. Whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by said Board of Education in whole as if the same were individually acted upon. Under Finance, items 1 through 30. Under Instruction, item 1. Under Policy and Legislation, item 1. Under Human Resources, items 1 through 24. Safety and Risk, item 1.
That's it?
That's all I got.
Okay. Board members, your pleasure.
Motion to move to consent resolution.
Motion by Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Mr. Rosato. Comments or questions? Roll call.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Bezak? Yes. Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Yes.
Mr. Wailuda?
Yes, the motion is okay. Okay, now we'll go to the Borough Council liaison, Mrs. Sabata, anything?
No, there is no report for this month.
Okay. And PTA liaison, Mrs. Beck?
Most of them didn't have meetings this month, and I didn't know, you didn't have a meeting this month that I missed, did you? Okay. So it's been very quiet, it's summertime, so that's where we're at. So that concludes my report.
And the library, Mr. President?
Yes, on July 19th, a satellite library was opened up on 55 Reed Street, the Human Services Building. They're open on Wednesday nights from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., July 19th to August 23rd. You can get more information on the South River Library website, different activities that are taking place. There is a computer there, printing services that you could use, and that's it at this time.
Okay, and Educational Foundation, Mrs. Beck?
They did meet last week, the week before, I forget which, I didn't make the meeting, but I got an update. They are still working on setting the date for the Harlem Wizards in the fall. And then they have 2 fundraisers, Five Below fundraisers, one on August 21st and one on August 28th. So that concludes my report.
Mr. Park, any executive report?
Plenty to discuss, but all in executive session.
Okay. Then, Mr. Brown, this would be your part of the section of the meeting. Bring up anything you so desire. Is there anything tonight you'd like to say or bring up? Floor is yours.
Sure. My name is Samantha Brown. I'm 16. I'm going to be a junior in high school. I'm a competitive dancer. I'm the president of my class and hopefully a vice president of student council. So that's where I'm at.
Good goals.
Good, welcome. Okay, at this time, I'll open the meeting, or is there any older new business?
Mr. Wailuda, if I may, I just want to let the board know that, and the public know that, on Tuesday, I met with our Assemblyman, Rob Karavanchik. Now, the reason for that meeting was I am one of 3 people from the 18th Legislative District who represent the NJSBA to the council, to the Assembly and Senate, okay, to the legislature. And the 3 of us, Jackie Gibson from Metuchen, and Debbie Brown from South Plainfield, and I are the 3 representatives. And we met with him for over an hour, and he originally brought up funding as one of the first priorities, which we agreed. And the reason, one of the reasons, there's several, but one of the main reasons that we got that money extra, as did other districts our size, is because we are severely underfunded, and the legislature recognized that. There are districts in New Jersey that are overfunded. So what they did was they balanced it out. They took some from what the overfunded districts were going to get and spread it out over the underfunded district. It doesn't quite meet what we need, but it's something, and it does help. As a matter of fact, the question I asked was for that purpose, to we're getting teachers back, reducing class size. We also discussed the park, and Mrs. Urchin was kind enough to give me a several-page, about a 6-page graphic of what the park requirements are going to be for graduation, or not park requirements, but the requirements for graduation on through the 21 school year. Now, there are alternate tests that can be taken, especially with the special ed students. They have a problem. Some of them have a problem with park, and there are several that they can take alternatively. And if none of those work, they can submit a portfolio based on the Department of Education regulations for those things. Well, every year after next school year, those alternate tests decrease until it gets down to the point for 2021 where it's either the park or the portfolio. But you can't submit the portfolio unless you take the park and get a score. If the score isn't good, then based on certain criteria, you may submit a portfolio. Okay? The problem with that is, if a kid can't pass the park and has to submit a portfolio this year, this coming year, and we have a kid who has the same kind of issue educationally as this kid, that second child is not going to have a chance to have maybe 6 or 7 alternate measurements. And it's just not fair. Assemblyman Karabinchak said he would like to see the park just go away, which it's not going to do. But in his opinion, he is with me and the other women that were there. Not other women, the women. No. But the three of us agreed that the park is not a good measurement. And Mrs. Zurcher even gave me some statistics to present to the Assemblyman that 41% of the average of New Jersey students passing Algebra 1 Park is only 41%. That's all of New Jersey. It's the average. In English Language Arts 10, I believe it was 44%. Okay? Now that tells me, and the other two people didn't know that, but nobody knew in that room except me, and thank you, Mrs. Zurcher, for pointing that out because it made an impact. That tells us that there's something wrong with this test. If I, as a classroom teacher, gave a test and only 44% of the kids passed it, I did something wrong. Okay? Now, here's the other situation. He also is deadly against using the test to evaluate teachers. Yeah, I know we need standards, and we've always had them since I came here in 1970. We used to have a list. A student gets this, and B student gets this. Standards all over the place, but some people don't realize that. Now, here's the problem. In one district, and I won't say where or who's involved because it's a personnel matter, but this one district is known as a poor teacher. Okay? So when the children go into that class, most of the parents of the children in that class hire a tutor for the school year to help that child do well in class. Those kids pass the park, and that teacher's evaluation looks great. That's a problem. And it doesn't only happen in one place. It's rare because most parents can't afford a tutor for the entire school year, but the ones that can do, and it makes a difference in that evaluation. So the evaluations might be false. It could work both ways. So he really is looking to talk to whoever the new commissioner is going to be, because right now it's not going to matter, and see if we can do something about the graduation requirements. One of the things Mrs. Zurcher suggested, and I also suggested, was that we judge the students not on an arbitrary score, but on their growth. And I'll give you an example from my own teaching experience. I had a kid who was teaching 8th grade reading right here, across the parking lot. Kid came in October, transferred from another district. That kid was in 8th grade, was reading on a 3rd grade level. Okay? Kid worked hard. He really pushed, so I pushed him. And the two of us together did a great job. And we together got that kid from a 3rd grade level in October to a 7th grade level in June. But you know what? He failed to get one because it wasn't 8th grade level. Now, is that fair to that kid? Absolutely not. Does Trenton care? Absolutely not. Assemblyman cares. And several people he's talking to, I told him, use my examples. And several people to whom he's speaking are starting to think about this whole situation about a graduation requirement, not just the park, but anything. If it's going to change, it's going to be a long time, but I tried to plant the seeds. And the last thing we talked about were unfunded mandates. And every district in the state has a problem with those. So I asked Mrs. Zercher, which one, give me an example. What can I tell them? And she said, our biggest one is HIB. You know, we're not paying the proper amounts that we should be paying for the counselors and investigators and so on. So and that was the same complaint from the other two districts that attended with me, Metuchen and South Plainfield. Same complaint. The biggest unfunded mandate is HIB, and the state has to start funding these things. And he agreed. He said he's going to look into it. Well, again, you know, he's got a lot. He's one guy. Okay, so he's got a lot to talk about to a lot of people. But I think we're on the same page on a few things, and we opened his eyes on others. And also, Senator Duignan wants to meet with us. We're going to tell him the same thing. So I wanted to let you know that we did make the Assemblyman aware of the problems, and Mrs. Zercher gave me some really good aid with that. And the points were made, and they were well taken. So we'll see what happens over the next few years. And anybody have a question about that?
I'm just thanking you, Mr. Rosanna, for your efforts, because even though it takes a long time, it's got to start somewhere. So otherwise, it never, ever, ever gets started. And all you hear is the complaints. But maybe with what you've just done, gets the ball starting to roll, and we will see something come later on.
Yeah, well, Senator Duignan wants to meet with us, and I called Assemblywoman Pink, and I want to tell her the same things. But she's around South River a lot. So, and the other thing is, I don't know where was that? I'm sorry, lost my train of thought.
She lives in East Brunswick.
Mrs. Pinkham, yeah.
Yes.
She does. Yeah, her office is in Edison, though, up past St. Joe's. So, but I'll meet her wherever she wants to meet. Colonial Diner's fine. You know. NJSBA agrees with us to a large degree on just about everything now. So they are representing us there lobbying. One of the persons that met with us was a guy named Chris Jones. And Chris Jones is one of the legislative staff, full-time staff for NJSBA. And he was able to shed some light on things also. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Anyone else have anything to add? If not, we will open the meeting to the public for any comments or questions whatsoever. Anyone from the audience?
Good evening, John Zapata, 35 Minor Street. I just wanted to come and address the Board of Education to let you know that the council at our last meeting actually finally had a vote on waiving the demand charge for the schools. I have attempted on numerous occasions to have a vote, and they kept on delaying it by tabling the vote. They finally did have a vote. It went unfortunately down party lines, and they voted no to giving demand charge relief to the school. Again, to me, it doesn't make any sense why, as a borough, we're charging demand charges to the school, and that expense to your budget comes out of the pockets of the residents either way, and it just doesn't make any sense. The good news is that Councilman Hauserman gave some suggestions on where you can save money. He drives by the school, says that the lights are on, computer screens are on, so apparently that's one way you can save your money, is according to Councilman Hauserman. If you're not quite familiar with the demand charge, South River is one of 9 municipalities of the state that has their own electric company. Demand charge is an additional charge that is put on basically commercial properties, one of which the schools I consider to be a commercial property, and churches and other Masonry institutions in the borough also get charged with it. Those institutions were given demand charge relief. The churches, Portuguese Club, other institutions like that were given, VFW, American Legion were given demand charge relief for the summer. The schools were the only ones that were not allowed to get a demand charge relief, which for the summer it ends up being about $18,000 for the school. Basically, I did some research, called up the other municipalities that have a electric utility, most of which do not charge their schools a demand charge. There are a few that do, Vineland being a very large one that does charge their schools a demand charge, but most do not. It was kind of amusing talking to the other municipalities. One municipality told me, wow, our council would never allow us to do that. I asked them about demand charge for the school, if they do it for their schools. Other municipalities don't even have a demand charge at all. So I had to explain to them what it was, and they said, wow, that's a great way to raise money. So it's unfortunate, but it's how it is now. I would have loved to see the demand charge relief being given to the school. And I would rather see it go away entirely, but unfortunately it's there. The vote was had last week and they voted no on it. So I just wanted to let you know what occurred there. But thank you.
Thanks for trying.
Actually, Mr. President, if I can, Mr. Zapata,
Yes.
first of all, thank you very much for your diligence. You have been our advocate in that regard for many months now. You had mentioned, and again, thank you, you had mentioned that the Portuguese club was one of the ones that was granted
Yes.
relief. Is that a private club?
Well, apparently they must be a Muslim institution. They must be charitable in some form, so they must have their 401. So they do get demand charge. So
No,
it was all the institutions. There were a number of them listed that fall into the charitable
The
category.
veterans organizations, I can understand all those, and I was just wondering what their status is, that they did get relief and an educational facility did not. I'm just wondering what the council's thinking of, but you could never answer that in 100 million years.
It's unfortunate. I mean, there was only the churches came and asked for demand charge relief. The schools actually were the first to come and ask for demand charge relief, and also the veteran organizations. Institutions like the Portuguese Club never even asked for a demand charge relief, but they were granted it. They also have a school there. I don't know if many of you are aware, they do have a Portuguese school there, but regardless, I think none of them should be charged with demand charge relief, be charged a demand charge. But to single out the schools, I mean, of all the listed ones, the only one that was not given the demand charge relief was the schools.
A taxpayer-funded entity.
Exactly, and it's quite amusing that last meeting, the council had a quorum here. Tonight, they're not. I'm the only one here, but apparently they wanted something else last meeting. But at this point, the vote was had. They voted it down, and hopefully, it's something that can be revisited in the future.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and it's agreed. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe all the lights are shut off after the school finishes running the borough's recreation program for that evening.
I'm just reporting the suggestion that Mr. Hauser came up with.
Out of our schools, be assured that once they are done, the lights are shut out. So I don't know what time he's driving past, but that would be my response to that, and that's my response, not the board's response.
And also for the demand charge, so that the residents are clear, and so that the board is also clear. Demand charge is based on 15-minute interval. So it ordinarily in a residence, you have whatever your usage is, and then it gets multiplied by the rate, and that's your bill. And obviously, there's a service charge also attached to it. So whatever you use is what you're getting billed for. And for the schools and other institutions, they have the same rate, but then there's a separate charge, which is demand charge. And the demand charge is based on a 15-minute interval. So if you went in and I gave the example, and it actually did happen to one of the institutions in town, but if you do not turn on a single light in the school for the entire month, and or air conditioning, nothing, everything is shut down electric-wise for the entire month, and then on the last day you turn on your lights for 15 minutes, you're going to get a demand charge for the entire month based on that 15 minutes. So you're looking at, hundreds of dollars that gets charged for just turning on the lights for 15 minutes. Even though you didn't really use any electricity that particular month, that 15-minute interval is what determines your demand charge. So it's basically a multiplier that is, there's the potential of you using that amount of electricity, so we're going to charge you for it.
Yeah.
So that's what the demand
That's
charge is
applied
all
to the whole
about.
month.
So regardless, even if you took Mr. Hauserman's suggestions and turned off all the lights, if you turned them on for 15 minutes, you're getting hit with the demand charge.
Well, thank
I
you so
think-
very much, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. At least the citizens hopefully will watch tonight's meeting and will learn a lot also. Anyone else?
Hi, everyone. Danielle Oswald, 16 Garwood Street. Welcome, Mrs. Zercher. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
It's the other day. I just wanted to go over the Foundation for Educational Excellence. The Five Below fundraiser, according to the flyer that we have, it's running from August 22nd to the 29th. So,
Mrs. Smith, this is what she texted me this afternoon.
okay.
So, and she did it as 21st and 28th, not through. I'm glad you're here to correct that.
It's a week long, yeah,
Thank you.
so it's the 22nd to the 29th.
And is this being advertised somewhere?
It's on SRP's website, and we will do an ERAM, I'm sure, and we'll be at, I believe, we're going to be at National Night Out also, right? So I'm sure we'll have the flyers at the table for National Night Out. The other fundraiser that we had for SRP, the Declare Your Skin Dependence, was good. There will be a donation made by the person who did it for $50. So there's that. For SEPTA, we are going to be beginning to plan our meeting dates. The meetings are going to be held at the public library. It just works better for us that way to have it there, especially because we've been using the Facebook Live feature on our Facebook page to try to get more parents involved. And I know that the Wi-Fi works for my devices in the library as opposed to in here sometimes. So, and we're also going to be meeting to strategize about future fundraisers. So we'll let you know what those will be. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Not, we'll close the public portion of the meeting. And before we go into closed, let me take a vote on payment of bills.
Thank you. The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented, having been certified by the School Business Administrator, Board Secretary, be paid as listed, and I so move.
Motion by Mrs. Lavelle.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. The board will be going into closed session. At the end of the closed session, there may be action to be taken. In the closed session, estimated, Chris, half hour or so?
Sure.
That's encouraging.
Okay, then. Resolved that pursuant to Section 718 of the Open Public Meeting Act, the following subjects discussed at a session of the Board of Education closed to the public were personnel and negotiations. It's presently anticipated that the items to be discussed and closed and can be released to the subject, to the public when they've been resolved. Do I hear a motion?
Nielsen.
Motion by Nielsen.
Andre.
Second by Andre.
I'm sorry.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Bezak? Yes. Mrs. Beck left the room. Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Yes.
Mr. Waludo?
Yes, motion so carried. As I said, action may be taken. Do I hear a motion for the resolution?
Nielsen.
Have read it first.
Got to read it, yeah?
Oh.
Let you, Mr. President.
That's you, Mr. President.
Mrs. Urbana?
Oh,
Mr. President, you can defer.
absolutely.
What was that?
Somebody read it.
Somebody read it.
Would you like me to read it, Reg?
Yes, please.
Sure. Whereas the South River Board of Education, at its April 27, 2017 public meeting, approved a separate proposal for additional funds in connection with the 2017-18 operating budget to be placed on the November 7, 2017 election ballot. Whereas the proposal for additional funds was in the amount of $450,000 for the general fund in the same school year, 2017-18. These taxes would be used for 6 teaching positions, benefits throughout the district. Now be it resolved that the South River Board of Education wishes to rescind its approval of a separate proposal for additional funds in the amount of $450,000 on April 27, 2017. Be it further resolved that the South River Board of Education authorizes the School Business Administrator, Board Secretary, to forward a copy of the certified resolution minutes of the Board's decision to the Middlesex County Board of Election and Middlesex County Executive Superintendent's Office of Education, and I so move.
Motion by Mrs. Urbaniak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Bezak? Yes. Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbaniak?
Yes.
Mr. Wailuda?
Yes, motion so carried. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Nielsen.
Andre.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Mrs. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.